Here are 3 more woodworking projects blueprints. First, we're making a floating shelf, then a little cutting board, and finish with a woodworking OAK table project. If these are not the projects you were looking for, I do recommend you to check out the links in the description in order to find it. Do you like this content? Feel free to like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate all the help to make it grow. While you're watching, I'd like to answer some questions I've got about the power tools you can use for your woodworking projects. If you have ever done woodworking projects, you probably know how important it is to have the right power tools. They're used for all kinds of jobs, and they make a big difference when it comes to the outcome of your project. But how do you choose the best power tools for your needs? A circular saw is a useful power tool for any woodworking project. These power tools are portable and simple to use. They can cut almost any type of material, including thin panels and cement. But before you start tearing through your lumber, you should know a few things about them. The first thing you should do is make sure you have the right blade for the job. You can choose from a variety of types, such as a 7/4 inch blade. However, you may want to consider purchasing a specialized circular saw blade if you plan on cutting metals, ceramic tile, or plastic. A circular saw will also allow you to make plunge cuts, which are a neat way to remove the end of a piece of wood without destroying the piece. Also, you can use the bevel lock feature of your saw to make angled cuts. To get the most out of your circular saw, you should follow the manufacturer's suggestions for proper setup. This includes having the right blade for the task and a secure base. For optimum performance, you'll need a saw with an amp rating of at least 15 amps. Lastly, you'll need to set the proper depth for the material you're cutting. This is the most important aspect of learning how to use a circular saw. Be sure to avoid the dangerous kickback. Jigsaw power tools are useful for many woodworking projects. However, they can be dangerous. Make sure you are using them correctly. Whether you're a newbie or a seasoned expert, use safety precautions to protect yourself. If you're considering a jigsaw for your next project, be sure to read the instructions thoroughly. You'll also want to check the user manual. They should be easy to follow. Getting your hands on a good quality jigsaw can be a worthwhile investment. When shopping for a jigsaw, be sure to choose one that has a good safety feature. Some models are equipped with a safety switch or a lock function. Check to see if it has a soft start. The blade is the most important part of a jigsaw. Choose a blade made for your material. For wood, a narrow, thin blade will work best. A wide, thick blade will cause your cuts to be curved. The blade can grab loose materials, so it's best to keep your fingers as far away as possible. It's also a good idea to remove any excess material before you begin cutting. To get the most out of your jigsaw, you should practice using it. If you're planning on doing a lot of cutting, you might consider investing in a cordless jigsaw. These models are more convenient than most corded options, but they will require you to recharge your batteries frequently. Orbital sanders are used for smoothing out wood surfaces, removing old finishes, and preparing surfaces for painting. They are particularly good for small to medium-sized projects, like refinishing furniture or cabinets. There are different types of orbital sanders, but most are fixed speed. These sanders use a sanding disc or sandpaper, which has a very fine grit. It is important to choose the proper grit. Using the wrong grit could result in nicks or scratches on the surface of the wood. For a more consistent finish, you may want to buy a random orbit sander with a variable speed control. Some models offer soft start or a vacuum conversion kit. The latter will allow you to convert the sander into a self-generating vacuum. You should wear appropriate clothing while using an orbital sander. If you are wearing loose clothing, it can get caught in the moving parts of the sander. Also, be sure to wear a protective mask. Before you start working with your orbital sander, be sure to empty the sander's dust bag. This will keep the work area clean. Use the sander in a well-ventilated area. Wear safety glasses and gloves. When you are ready to start sanding, set the sander to low speed. Be careful to apply even pressure to the sanding pad. Sanding too quickly or with too much pressure can gouge the material. The best random orbital sander for woodworking will provide a comfortable platform, 5-bladed rotor, and a motor amp rating of 2.5 to 3.3 amps. You should also choose a model with a dust collection system that is good. A handheld belt sander is a very useful tool for woodworking projects. There are many types of sanders on the market, but finding the best model can be a challenge. If you are looking for the best sander for your needs, here are some things you should know. You should also wear protective gear and use the tool in the correct way. When purchasing a sander, you should keep in mind the size, weight, and power of the device. Larger tools have more surface area and are more useful for bigger jobs. Smaller models are better suited for casual use or one-handed work. You should also check the belt for wear. If it's broken or has a manufacturing defect, it could be dangerous to use. When you are sanding, you should wear a pair of impact-resistant eyeglasses and a face mask. This will keep you from breathing in sawdust. Belt sanders are very helpful for sanding large pieces of wood. They are also great for removing finishes and rough surfaces. Although they exert some force, they are not as hard as an axe. Handheld belt sanders are a lot more affordable than larger tools. They can be purchased for $50 to $250. The cost depends on the machine's power and quality. A belt sander can be a very handy tool, but it can also be dangerous if you use it improperly. Some models are very heavy, and others lack speed or durability. A powered miter saw is a good choice if you're looking to make angled cuts. It can be less expensive than a table saw, and it can cut faster and more accurately. Before you buy a powered miter saw, you should first consider your project. If you're just planning to use the saw for crosscuts, a basic model may do the job just fine. However, if you're working on a larger woodworking project, you'll probably want to go with a more powerful model. You should also think about how much space you'll have to set up the saw. You'll need room for the saw and the blade, and you'll need to have some area to place your hands. Also, you should check the saw's manual. Some models are easy to set up, while others are a bit more complicated. To keep your miter saw running smoothly, you should make sure that it has an ergonomic handle. This can help you grip the saw with more confidence. You should also keep in mind that it's important to choose a saw that has a safety feature. While it's not necessary, a safety clamp is a great way to reduce the risk of you accidentally hitting the blade. Similarly, a miter saw that has a lockout button can prevent you from accidentally cutting a corner. Other safety features you'll find on a miter saw include a laser, which can help you line up your cuts. Another useful feature is a dust collection system, which attaches to a shop vac. Chisels are one of the most important tools in woodworking. They have many uses and come in a variety of shapes and sizes. You will need to sharpen the blades to get them ready to use. Wood chisels are used for carving reliefs and for shaping table legs. These tools can be found in hardware stores, online, and in woodworking shops. The price and quality of the chisels can vary. However, you should select the chisel based on your intended use. The first consideration in choosing a chisel is whether it has a beveled edge on the face. If it does, then it is a good choice. Another important consideration is the tang, which is the part of the chisel that is fitted to the handle. It should be strong enough to resist pounding and splitting. Some chisels have metal handles, while others have plastic handles. Plastic-handled chisels are more durable and tend to cost more, but the wood-handled chisels are beautiful and tend to last longer. If you are buying a chisel for a woodworking project, make sure it has a beveled edge on its face. It should also be sharp, and you should be able to remove thin slices of wood with it. If you are an amateur woodworker, you can choose a beginner-oriented chisel set. Such sets come with 6 chisels. A good chisel set should be able to accommodate any type of woodworking project, and it should include the type of chisels you need to do the job.